CQ 7300, I think it is, the parking lot is. What a joint for real antennas. CQ, and it's a big parking lot. W1V Victor, D Delta, E Echo, Oregon. CQ, hello CQ. W1VDE, W1 Victor, Delta, Echo, Oregon.
This is Kilo Echo 9 Echo Golf Hotel.
Yeah, Echo Golf Hotel. Now, I won't be able to see it, but I'll put it down. Okay. Echo. Come on. Echo Golf Hotel. You got a nice signal here. 5 and 9. I'm in Oregon. I'm on the side of Mount Mazama. That's Crater Lake National Park. So I'm at 4,436 feet, and it goes up to 7,300, and then there's a big old dust volcano full of water. It's called Crater Lake National Park. Just a short jaunt up the road, 16 miles. I'm down. It's a humongous mountain. It's an old dust volcano, but it's also a piece of your ground out here. So there you go. Echo George Hotel, W1VDE, Whiskey 1, V vibrating, D diesel, E engine. They all sound the same. VDV, VDE, DDE, but it's VDE, vibrating diesel engine. Go ahead. Here's the hard part. Name's Roger. At least that's what I used to answer to when Ma called me. Get in here and eat.
Okay, Roger. Very good. Very good. The call sign here is Kilo Echo number 9, Echo Golf Hotel. Kilo Echo 9, everybody get happy. You've got operator Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo, and I'm located about 70 miles south of Indianapolis, Indiana. And you're sounding very good tonight. Nice audio, and I got you to 58.58. I'm at about 750 feet above sea level here in the great Midwest, and that's about it on this end. Not a whole lot going on. It's 68 degrees, which is a big break from what it has been. Back to you, Roger.
Okay, Dave. Well, you're not far from the Brickyard then, where they have the Memorial Day races. So they tar that over yet, or is it still red brick?
Well, I believe there is a section of the red brick left, but it's just I think it's there at the podium and at the cross line. I could be wrong on that. I've never actually been to it because the crowd is crazy. It takes hours to get in and out of there, and the parking is insane. I did used to work up there around Speedway, but when I went on lunch break one day, they made me leave the city entirely, and I had to come back a different route because all they want to do is get people out of there. So, yeah, I know, I believe that's the case, that they do have a section there that still has brick. Back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Yeah, you got a heck of a good signal. I'm only running a couple of 100 watts, but I'm on a 900-foot rhombic, and you just happen to be in the beam. You happen to be in the beam of a secondary lobe. Looks right up over from where I am, right up over your shoulders, across the Great Lakes, right up across the Hudson Bay, and because of the curvature of the Earth, looks right down into London, Scotland, London area. So then down the coast of France, into Spain. And that's not the main lobe. The main lobe of the antenna looks at Cape Town, South Africa. So I'm pouring 17 degrees up above the horizon and about twice as wide. So on this band, if I go up an octave, it gets tighter. And the pattern, I actually get more gain up there. And then if I go up to 10 meters, I get more gain. By the time I get to 6 meters, and it's only 57 feet wide, same length, but 57 feet wide, it's almost per watt is 1 kilowatt per watt. So it's radiating then at about between 5 and 6 degrees above the surface of the ground and 10 degrees wide. So divide 41,253 by 50, 5 by 10 by 50, divide by 50, take that answer and take the log of it, the log of the answer you get. It's going to come out somewhere around 2.9. Multiply that by 10, you can hit within 3 dB of the gain that's developed. Every watt's close to a kilowatt. Every watt is close to a kilowatt, and that's what they do. It's the pushing of the field. It's the amount of electrons that you can get to shake and recognize one another and shake hands as they go by one another and charge. One that's undercharged, he can get electricity from his neighbor, so on and so forth. And that goes on constantly. And that's how these things develop the power of it.
Okay, Roger, very good. So you have my curiosity. What antenna are you running? What is your system? Here in Indiana, I'm running the Anon G2, the Apache Labs, into a 300-watt solid-state amplifier, and I've got a 80-meter off-center fed dipole up 31 feet, and it's 131 feet long. So, yeah, Roger, I am curious, really curious what it is you're running. Back to you.
All right, well, this is 900 feet long. It's shaped like a baseball diamond. The problem is the diamond is longer than it is wide. It's about 200 feet wide right now. 200 feet wide right now. It's 900 feet long. 900 feet long. So, here on 18 megacycles, it'll go down to about 10. Ten megacycles. From here on up, I've added on 420 megacycles. So I can go on any frequency between 10 megacycles. It ain't big enough to go below 10. It isn't big. I'm high enough up in the air. I'm on the side of a mountain, and it's 154 miles to the horizon out here. Crystal clear. There isn't anything out there. Just green trees for 154 miles. Right now it's smoky, but that happens every year. It gets dry, so. But that's what I'm on. I'm only running 100 watts. That's 200 watts PEP. Your license, the amateurs are licensed for a kilowatt, but they'll give you 1,500. Then you find out that it's actually only 750. So it should be 2,000. But now you see it, now you don't. It's like getting change in a small store. Count your pennies. Every time they give you something, there's a few cents missing out of the change. You ever notice that?
Okay, well, honestly, I haven't. I do a lot with a debit card, so I don't carry the money around. I guess that's kind of a bad habit. But circling back to your antenna, you have a wire in the air. Is that correct? You have a wire in the air, and how high is it up above the ground? Back to you.
40 feet. 40 feet. 40 feet. There's the four wires up there. There are four wires up there, so that it can handle 100 watts. No, I give you that. The more capacity, these work different than any antenna there is. You're talking in an antenna that's resonant. Where XL equals XC, that's resonant. This isn't. This antenna is non-resonant. This antenna does nothing but attempt to get a large current up in the air. It's called traveling wave. It's a whole concept that has been eaten up by the commercial boys and secretized. They don't want you to know about it. They know, the big commercial stations know all about them. And they were developed about 1923 to about 1929, and then World War II came along. All the government stations, all the government point-to-point stations had them, and then they took them down. They took them down, and they rolled all the wire up, and they were talking continent to continent during the war, and that's what they're for. They call point-to-point antennas. Completely different. It has nothing to do with resonance. It has to do with the current flow in the wires that are involved, and the fact that it's repetitive. It's repetitive, and I've got to tell you this. You put 100 watts through a resonant antenna. Now listen close. And see if you don't bollocks this up. 100 watts through a piece of wire, resonant. What's that, 54? Let's say it's 54 feet. If I remember, I think it's just about 25 feet to the half wavelength. So let's put it through a one wavelength antenna. It's going to see 2 times the current. 2 times the current. When the impedance is low enough, that current is going to be what radiates. That makes the magnetic field. The voltage part of the antenna doesn't do anything. It doesn't radiate. It just forces the electricity down to where it starts to get throttled into the current mode and forces it through, whereupon it starts to build back up again. Then it's throttled back down, and that differential is what causes the magnetic field to form. Assuming that you can keep it flowing and do it over and over again, there's a percentage that gets radiated every half wavelength. The actual radiation from a half wave antenna, 25 feet long, put 100 watts in it. It's not a very efficient system. 10 watts of that radiate makes a magnetic field out of 100. 10 watts is radiated every half wavelength. So the next one has 90 watts. 9 watts in the next antenna will radiate. So you've got now 19 watts in the air. What are you going to do with the rest of it? Well, you're going to have to blow it off as heat. And that's what they don't want you to know, over.
Okay, Roger. You definitely have sparked my curiosity on this. And So I'm looking up point-to-point antennas, trying to get more information on it. Is there anything else that I should look up so I can understand this better? Back to you.
Well, look it up. Bruce, Beck, and Lowry were the three guys that tripped over it. They were graduates of the MIT, but way back in 1918, somewhere in there. And the reason for the antenna was, they said, well, it's shaped like a diamond. And the jeweler somewhere over in Europe says, hey, you bongos, listen close. That's called a rhomboid. That shape is a rhomboid cut in the diamond field, hence the name rhombic. Because of the pattern of the rhomboid cut, they named that antenna a rhombic. They actually wrote it up as the diamond-shaped antenna. They actually wrote it up as the diamond-shaped antenna. And he said, that's a rhomboid. And it took a foreigner to tell him, over.
Okay, that helped a lot. I've got the rhombic antenna, which is a type of radio antenna made of 4 sections of wire suspended parallel to the ground in a diamond or rhombus shape. Am I on the right track?
It looks just like a baseball diamond. It looks just like a baseball diamond, except that they're longer than they are wide, about a 4-to-1 ratio. They're 4 times longer than they are wide. And that's exactly what it is. You'll see it. Edmund Bruce, he was one of the graduates. I think it's Lowry was the other one. Bruce Beck and A.C. Beck. Arthur Charles Beck. A.C. Beck. Arthur Charles Beck. Three graduate engineers made the antenna. Somewhere around 1928. I can't remember the exact date, but you'll get the information. Bruce, Beck, and Lowry. Bruce, Beck, and Lowry is what you got to look up. And Edmund Bruce, Arthur C. Beck, and Lawrence Lowry. I'm 94. I have a hell of a job remembering my own name, but that's how they work, and they really don't want you to know about it. Years ago, some of the guys that worked for the big point-to-point stations, the amateurs, and they were employed. They already knew CW, and that's what they dealed in. That was conversational, like you and I are talking now. They didn't even know what phone was until the 30s. Until the 30s, everything was CW. And Spark, of all things. Spark, no legitimate frequency. Whoever had the loudest spark was essentially the biggest crashing signal was the dominant station. And one of them was Charlie, Cape Cod. Charlie, and that belonged to the eye-tie that Marconi. Marconi came over and built the station at Eastham on Cape Cod. And then along the 20s, the Department of Commerce of the United States said, hey, we gotta get a handle on this. We gotta tax this. It's been downhill ever since, over.
Okay, Roger, thank you very much for enlightening me on this. I do have some information that I'm looking at now, and they're saying is a diamond-shaped rhombic antenna is a classic HF traveling wave antenna made of 4 equal length parallel wires. This may be what I've been looking for. Over.
The parallel part is to give you bandwidth so that when it's spread wire apart, that the left-hand side can see the right-hand side, and the right-hand side can see the left-hand side. Okay, that gives you bandwidth. That gives you the ability to make it work on a whole bunch of frequencies, because XL keeps equaling XC. And if anything changes, the length changes, then the capacity of the width between the fan of the wires, right? That capacity compensates for the length. That capacity makes the antenna go higher. Why? It makes the antenna appear to be shorter than it is. So you make it for the lowest frequency you want to use, or the lowest frequency you could. Then as you go up in frequency, the ability of the wires to see the opposite side, because of the width, that capacitance keeps making the wires look shorter. They're not, because they physically they stay the same length, but electrically and resonance has nothing to do with it. It's travel. It's a time variation is exactly what it is. And the further you get into it, it's a variation of time, microseconds, so millionths of a second are involved, and it does certain things to the electron field. That's what it's all about, believe it or not, over.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so I want to put this question to you. I would have to see if I have the physical space on my property to create this antenna. What band would require the least amount of space for me to build this? Would 6 meters be a smaller footprint than, say, a 80-meter antenna? Back to you.
It's a question of where you want to talk to. It doesn't have anything to... The size don't mean a thing. And the larger the panel, the more water you move. It's that simple. The larger the antenna, the more you move. If you want to steer it, electronically, it's quite easy to do. It involves leading on one side and lagging on the other. You can steer them. You can actually steer them about 15 to 20 degrees for off path. And they've got plenty of subsidiary lobes, so you've got a lot of reading to do first. This question you just asked me is self-explanatory. It depends on how much physical space you have. You know, there's acres of land involved. Hell, this thing eats up 5 acres of land. So hopefully you're not in a city somewhere. And if you are, look around at the big buildings. Big buildings are better than trees. The problem is they make noise. So, and you're not in the noise business. You're in the silence business. They're very quiet. They are a very, very quiet antenna. So, you got a lot of reading to do. And I mean a lot of reading, over.
Okay, yeah, I'm beginning to understand that. Okay, so I follow what you're saying now. Okay, it's I don't know. This is a lot more than I've thought about as far as antennas go. but I certainly have a strong interest in learning more about this, and I will do some research. You're sounding great, and it is obviously working for you very well. I don't have 5 acres that I can play with. I've got 1 acre, and but I do have trees that are on the adjacent property where I might be able to work something out with the landowner and be able to suspend some wires. So I'm going to definitely look into this and try to get a better grasp on it. But thank you very much for taking the time and explaining as much as you have. I'm recording this conversation for my YouTube channel. All you have to do to hear how good you sound is put my call sign into YouTube, and you'll see the video in our conversation, be able to hear what your station sounds like on this end. And I'm sure glad that I did record this conversation, Roger, because from where I'm sitting and my knowledge of antennas, we covered quite a bit of ground and a whole lot of new concepts for me to try to comprehend. So I will be playing this back and listening again to our conversation as I dig into this deeper. Back to you.
Oh, you got a lot to go, and I've got to tell you a little bit more. You can put them up vertically polarized. Your 1 acre can put you. You get your fingers into this thing, and you can vertically pull. That's a horizontal one. Horizontal polarization. Horizontally polarized rhombic. And that's 2 sides. Half of that standing up, and don't use a metal tower. A metal tower will destroy the pattern. You can't use a metal tower. It's got to be wood. It's got to be wood, or a building, or a rope from one side all the way across that pulls the center up, go up over the rope, back down to the earth, terminate in the earth on the far end, and it'll peak. What we're doing is we're crushing the wave angle down across the surface of the earth. We're trying to make it skid further. Everybody thinks of radiation. Gee, you gotta get it up in the air. Wrong. Totally wrong. Yeah, you have to get it up in the air. You have to get the antenna up in the air. But the idea is to get the speed off the front of the antenna faster than the speed off the back. The back kind of drags the tail. That tips it uphill a little bit. But you can put these things up vertically polarized and leave 50 feet between them. You put up 4 or 5 on an acre, uphill and back downhill over the same rope. Bingo! What? You got 5 times the transformer, and that's all the antenna is a transformer. It matches the impedance of space. No, the impedance of space is 376.9. 376.9 ohms. It's the same as when you pick a wire off the ground. Wire has no impedance laying on the ground. At 6 inches up, it has an impedance of 633 ohms at 6 inches space. Number 8 wire, spaced from the ground, right? So what's it do? Well, impedance as you go up in the height of the antenna over the rope and back down again, you have directivity now. You now have directivity, and you also have the impedance at the back of the antennas around 2,000 ohms. At the front of the antenna, you go into, you don't have the other half of the antenna, so you put the resistor load on the far end, and that causes the current to become a universal flow, and that makes the magnetic field. You're trying to manufacture You're trying to manufacture current flow out of voltage. You're trying to lower the input impedance down to your determination. You're in control, not Mother Nature, Robert.
Okay, Roger. Very good. Very good. Right now, with my 80-meter off-center fed dipole, I'm using fiberglass Army surplus poles, and they're 4-foot sections. And at the apex, the off-center fed is up at 32 feet. So I can certainly construct the vertical support using those fiberglass poles because they're non-conductive. Do you agree? Over?
Yeah, but they got wire. The problem is there's wire in them. If I remember right, when they made those fiberglass poles, they had wire in them, and you could screw them together. You could screw them together and make any frequency you wanted, but they were a hell of a job. You had to practically be an antenna engineer. They may have improved it now. It may be totally different, but I bought a bunch of them surplus way back probably in the 60s, and they had wire right in them. They are an antenna. That's what you want to avoid. It's not under your control. And so you're thinking resonance. Again, avoid thinking resonance. There's nothing resonant about the array that you're about to venture forth with. You're just about ready to step into the traveling wave. And let me tell you, it's a whole different world. It's a completely different world. They don't want you here, Robert.
Okay, very good. Well, I will inspect these poles with a metal detector and see if it registers any ferrous materials in there. I have cut into them and shortened some links down, and I didn't see anything like that. Hopefully, these do not have any metal in them. The ends on these slide over each other. There aren't any threads or anything like that. So hopefully that'll be the case, and that would simplify that. But yeah, I'm starting to catch the direction you're taking me on this, and it's very exciting. Back to you.
Well, you wait to hear them bark. If you think it's exciting, wait till everybody else is working one another stateside, and the closest thing you can hear is the other side of the world. Over.
Yeah, copy. Okay, so basically, all these expensive Yagi beams, just that's going down the wrong path and the wrong way of thinking. QSL.
Well, they've reduced. Let me take. They're into the resonant field. That's a resonant array. At the ends of the antennas are capacitively coupled. The time of the travel is what phases the antenna between the elements. You're phasing. You're eating up time. Time travel. You're not driving. You're taking a small amount of current at the center of the antenna. You got yourself by the throat, and you're making voltage out on the end to control the timing of the array. You want the current that you can get. You want maximum current. Why? Current makes the magnetic field. The magnetic field, the expansion at the speed of light of the magnetic field is the carrier of information, not the voltage. So you're restricting yourself. You have a resonant restrictive array. So what they do, they went to a larger antenna, like still semi-resonant, still but traveling wave. They went to things called quads. And the reason they went to it was to stop the burning of the air. Back in 32, HCJB had a big point-to-point broadcast station in Ecuador, fed across the Atlantic into Europe before World War II, and they used to burn the air. And the guy from the States went down and discovered that the quad antenna, as we know it, 4 half waves, the travel time around those 4 wavelengths got rid of the high voltage. High voltage is a carryover from spark. It makes a hell of a noise, but don't go anywhere. It's the resultant of the spark, the part they don't tell you about. It's the amperage that makes the magnetic field. That's the reduction. So why tune a bunch of antennas? Why not just tie them all together and keep making current all the way through it, over?
Okay, I follow you now. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's obvious. I've got a lot to read about, and oh man, I wish you lived closer. I'd love to see what you're doing there. I looked on the QRZ page. I didn't see any photos or anything, but I did find information on the web, and I'm going to do what I can to figure out more about this. Thank you very much for taking the time and the effort to help make this more understandable. Back to you.
Well, be careful. You're going to have to read between the lines, because they're going to start swamping you with, I don't know how well educated you are, but you better know the formulas are what you got to remember. The formulas, they're gonna go into the Greek sense, where I'll pat your back if you'll pat my back, over.
Okay, yeah, copy that. All right. Well, I'm not opposed to learning. Learning is, well, that's growth in ham radio, because there's so much to do, and it gets kind of fringe whenever you start talking antennas. So I really appreciate what you're telling me, and certainly very thankful for your sharing of the knowledge. Back to you.
Well, it isn't knowledge, it's burnt fingers. So you only burn your fingers with RF a few times, and you get real smart real quick. So, and took me about 3 months to figure out that when you heat a soldering iron, there's a reason for a wooden handle. So they didn't have in my day they didn't have electric soldering irons. Never mind the guns and the little things they've got today. By the way, they're back to flame again. So the way to heat a soldering iron in my day was a blowtorch. Gasoline blowtorch and a big chunk of copper on an iron rod. So, and it better have a wooden handle of it.
Yeah, QSL. Okay. Well, man, alive, I've never heard of this before I started the conversation with you this evening. So I feel very fortunate to run across you on 17 meters tonight. I don't really know what to say. I'm just really appreciative of opening my eyes to this. Definitely going to look into this as much as I can understand, and try to educate myself further. But I like the concept and what I've seen so far. The references on the internet. This is certainly something that's very desirable.
Oh, absolutely is. By the way, you can time phase if you put them up vertically. You can time phase them so they all go off to add to one another. So let's say you put five of them up, or one in the middle, and then two on either side, four, five. Yeah, five of them, and a half wave between them. Now you can tune them, and you can tune them and time them by the length of the wires between them. You have to feed power to the whole mass of them. But you can time each one going off so that they lag or lead the center. The center probably has the most power on it. Okay, but you can make it so that there's 90 degrees of time that goes by, wherein the power of the antenna over 90 degrees can add to the first pump. So from the first antenna going off, and you can time across 20 of them if you want to, if you can get them up there. So you can actually steer them vertically by timing the length of the feed lines and where you tap into them. So you'll pick up on it. Don't take the answer. No, you can't do that. Don't take that for an answer. Every time they say no, investigate it. Don't take somebody else's word, please.
Okay, QSL. Very good, very good. I'm not sure, but I think the radio host, Art Bell, who did Somewhere in Time and Coast to Coast AM, he was a ham operator as well and had a very large wire system up at his property. And I'm believing it could be what you're talking about here. Over?
Exactly. Yeah, I knew Art. I knew him. I talked to him. I talked to him when he lived down in the Philippines. By the way, I've got to tell you how good this antenna that I'm talking to you on right now. Normally this band would be closed. Not for me. Not for me. That's what it does. It'll hold the band open, probably all night long. It's hard to tell. If I had somebody in Europe that had would get away from tuning time tuning to make the antenna smaller, control. Well, we got to get control of this, you know. It goes on in Europe too. It goes on over there, you know. There's nothing worse than control. It stops the inventor. It's a sawhorse in the road. Road's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. They just don't want you to use it. They don't want to have to clean it. Don't take no for an answer at any time. Your question is always why. You're an entered apprentice, so get used to saying why. Over.
Okay. Yes. That's what I do in my profession. I'm always asking questions, and they'll give me a definition without a definition. So I'm asking, okay, so why? And that's a constant. I'm pretty good at that. But yeah, I guess that was why Art Bell was building the antenna system that he was running, and because I know he was a very adamant ham operator, and very interesting, and that you've actually had the opportunity to speak with him. So that's great, and I'm envious of that. But I'm really I'm going to lay awake tonight thinking about this, and probably do a little bit of research before I call it a night. Back to you.
I hope so. Keep it fresh in mind. Mark those names down. Bruce Beck and Lowry, and you can get the information, you can get the original articles out of, if you know somebody that's an engineer, or they'll sell it to you out of the archives. It's all bottled up. You just got to be able to break the code it's written in, and I broke it years ago. So it's no secret. There's no secret handshakes in this society. It's rather unfortunate in a way, but no secret handshakes, no idols to pray to, and you can leave apples and fruit, and you and I will both end up eating them, over.
Okay, yes, I agree with you 100%. All right. Well, I know later on I'm going to have some questions, and you're not going to be out there. So, are you generally on 17 meters? When would you do you get the opportunity to be on the air? And where would be a good place to look for you? Because I may have to bounce something off of you later on. Back to you.
Good question. This frequency 165 or 157,500. There's a gang that's progressive that gets on here every single day, and you've got to get in here with them to check the propagation. It's called highfrequencyqso.com. If you can bring that up, I can't see the computer anymore. highfrequencyqso.com. hfqso.com, and they'll shift you into the right gear. 157.500 or 165 here in the evening. And they're probably listening right now as I'm talking to you, because they're taking notes. Believe me, they're taking notes. And I've got a couple of guys that own large acreages, but they're like me, whereas you're much younger than me, and find some real somebody in the 10, 12 to 14 that's interested in radio, years old. Have them give you a hand. I call them, and keep your eye on them. Keep your eye on them, and bring them up so they know something. They're not empty-headed. They're not full of TV. Over.
Okay, QSL, very good. So, kind of to sum it up, it would seem like, because of the way this information has been bottled up, well, I don't know who they would be, but I think they're more interested in ham operators being consumers of antennas and such, and not really creating their own, and certainly not pushing something like this forward even further. Is that accurate to you?
Oh, no. What they do, you're licensed for a particular reason. The reason is, if you discover something, automatically belongs to the government. I can tell you a true story, and in a story, this actually happened. A guy invented a thing called, I'll just briefly tell you about it, so you'll know why you're licensed. Because there isn't enough input engineering-wise now. When everything goes sour, they say, well, give it to the hams, they'll straighten it out. And it's been noted over the years, progress directly related to the mistakes the engineers make. They're educated, but they have a tendency to dumb up. Well, that's work. Ham never gives up. Work is his fortitude. That's what he lives off of. The challenge of the unknown. Well, he said he can't be done. I'll prove him wrong, over.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I do know a young ham. It's very motivated and very excited about radio. So I will take your advice and bring him along, and make sure that he, like you say, that he ends up knowing something and always asking questions. And I think that's an excellent thing for people to do. Um, and then as far as being licensed, that kind of blows my mind a little bit. But you know what, Roger, it makes a lot of sense now that you say that. So I kind of see where you're headed. I was looking at other job professions and working for Department of Defense, and there's a lot of openings for RF engineering. And what you said just kind of reinforces that thought that I had. Back to you.
I will never catch up. I've got to tell you, the transistor industry, we blew out of the country because we didn't want to pay Social Security on the help and so forth for the last 40 years. If we educate for the next 40 years, we'll never catch up. Why? Everybody will always be 40 years ahead. I got to tell you this one. They just come out. I was reading an article out of an English book, and I can't see anymore. My wife read it to me, but they just invented, a U.S. company did. Now listen close, real close. Two sides that glue together to make a transistor. It multiplies 1 million times. You put a signal in one end, comes out 1 million times better on the far end, and it's only 5 atoms thick. 5 atoms thick. After it's glued together, that means one side's 2.5 atoms. Atoms, not electrons, atoms thick. How the hell do they pick it up? How do they pick it up to glue it together so that it will magnify 1 billion, not million, 1 billion times, 1 billionth of a volt, right? And get 1 volt out the far end, over.
Well, that's a good question. I do not have an answer for. That blows my mind a little bit because all the new transistors, the MOSFETs and everything that everybody's using, and the new amplifiers, something like that is light years ahead of it. So. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let that one kind of settle, Roger. I enjoy hearing about all this and everything, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to put it all together, But definitely very interesting. I'll have to look for that article and see if I can locate information on that. I'm sure there's probably something on the web about it. Back to you.
It's out of the New Scientist. There's a book called The New Scientist, comes in from England. I get it every month, and the wife will read it to me. So, but I couldn't get. That means the Dick Tracy watch, right? The Dick Tracy watch will now be a computer on top of being a radio and a transmitter. Over.
Yes, copy that for sure. Well, I'm kind of curious, Roger. What did you do for a living when you were working? Back to you.
Well, down in Puerto Rico, there was a big station down there. Used to listen to the planets. We were trying to hear about 30 years ago. We were moving ahead. The Air Force ran it at first. But down in the jungle, buried down there, there was a big array. I built all the panels for that antenna. I built the factory that built the panels for the antenna, and they had a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans bending sheet aluminum, all 38,400 and some odd pie-shaped pieces to make a parabolic antenna. It's not parabolic. It's hemispheric. Focuses like the old searchlights. It had 70 dB a gain at 2,020 megacycles. By the way, 2,020 megacycles is what your radar in the house works on to preheat. So, and before that, I built highway. I actually got to pull levers in the big machinery. Over.
Okay, very good. Okay, are you talking about Arecibo? I think's the name of it. Is that the right place in Puerto Rico? Am I thinking correctly? Over.
Yeah, it's about 26 miles in the mountains of Puerto Rico. They call it Arecibo, but Arecibo is a town. It's a city, and it's up at Huelo de Bolo, where the Indians used to play when their enemies had soccer.
Yeah, QSL. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that antenna that you're speaking of was it was in Carl Sagan inspired movie Contact. So when you said that, it kind of clicked for me. Very impressive history, Roger. Very impressive indeed. I just don't know what to say from this point. Kind of trying to process all of it. But, man, you've certainly given me some good information and some great direction to head in this hobby. Back to you.
Oh, well, I knew him. I knew Carl Sagan. I took orders from him. What was the other guy? The guy in charge of the site had a doctorate. Well, he worked for Sagan. He took his orders from Sagan, and I told Carl one time. I said, "Well, what happens if we're standing on the edge of space? How far out does it go?" He said, "Well, first of all, it's an impossibility." He says, "There's no edge to stand on." Over.
Okay, yeah, QSL. All right. Well, when I was, I guess in 1980, I was just starting high school, and that's when Cosmos came out. I think it was like a 12 or 13 part series, video series that Carl Sagan did, and I wore those VHS tapes out, playing that over and over again. It was like taking a college class, just listening to everything he had to say in all these different episodes. So that's wonderful that I get to talk to somebody who actually talked to Dr. Sagan. Back to you.
Well, you talk to him all the time. He's like talking to you. Just like talking to you. We're the ones that told him about wormholes. In the early days on 2 meters, we were hearing the strange echoes and time changes, and we didn't know it was interplanetary. We had no idea, but he mentions if you read his book, you'll really know what he's talking about. Sam Harris, Rolf Dice, Hank, W1VDE, Hank, I can't think of Hank's last name. He was an engineer for National Receivers. He was there, and I was there, and the dreamers and schemers, the educated parts of it used to hang around the doorway and listen to Sam and me and Dice and the rest of them got got so bad they wouldn't let me go in and shoot the breeze with Hank and Sam Harris. They said we don't get nothing done. We get involved listening to you guys. So you read it all you can get the information. He knows what he's talking about. We had already done it. We were talking about stuff that we had accomplished. We were actually talking about stuff that we had accomplished in the early in the 50s. In the 50s, hell, I was licensed when I was a kid. So first time, my call is first time through the call book. First time through the call book. Still got it. But and it's W1VDE, so one very dedicated engineer. Believe that one, I'll tell you another one. It isn't the knowledge that's known. It's the knowledge that's unknown and what you dream of. That's advancement, Albert.
Okay, yes, very good. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to have to increase my base knowledge so that I've got a foundation to work from. Very exciting stuff. I just found Cosmos at a thrift bookstore where I can purchase that, and I'll probably go ahead and pull the trigger on that tonight and get that coming in. Very interesting stuff, and I really would like to have longer conversations with you farther on down the road. You're a great source of information and inspiration to me. Thank you.
If you don't ask, you'll never receive. So remember, no is not an answer. No is a zero. N-O. You don't want to hear that. And the counteraction is why. The additive to the question is, well, why? You want answers, not make believe, or it doesn't concern you. There's another one. Why? Over.
Okay, yeah, QSL. I've been that guy and asked that question until people just get frustrated. And honestly, Roger, I don't think they know the answer themselves. When you hear an answer that it's kind of like, well, that's how it's always been done, that just makes me mad. That's not the answer I'm looking for. I need a definition. Can you define what it is that you're asking me to do, that kind of thing. So, and that has to do with engineering groups and the kind of work that I do. So I certainly understand and already do that in the workplace. Sometimes I get a look from them, and they get a little frustrated, but then we get down to it, and I'll get the answer eventually, but you gotta kind of force it out. It seems like you got to force it out of them sometimes. Back to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's called pushing back the unknown. They can't answer it because it requires pushing back the unknown. If you ain't sticking your fingers in the unknown, you ain't advancing. So I talk real talk. No fancy talk. No fancy talk. We don't care about the answer, how much it hurts or anything. What you want's the answer or the pushback into the unknown. You wanna get your fingers in where they shouldn't be. It's called prodding, Albert.
Okay, yeah, QSL. Well, I guess I get a little enjoyment out of that, to be honest. It's like the ones that have the knowledge need to be able to share that, It shouldn't be a secret. No, I didn't go to engineering school, but that doesn't mean, I can't comprehend the things that I'm supposed to do, things that I'm tasked with doing. So yeah, I agree 100%. And I guess that's what I do. I can see myself as a prodder now that you phrase it that way, and that makes a lot of sense. So, but I think it is the right step in understanding the things that you don't really understand, and then you can build on top of that.
Oh, constantly. Who said contact? Come in and go ahead. Your call don't interest me, but what you got to say does, Robert. It isn't knowledge. I actually did it. I pushed back the unknown. I'm going to give you an idea. Carl Sagan one time told me about an animal that lives in space called a black hole. And we've studied them now for years. We can hear them. They make noise. I said, so what's the end result? He says, well, I'll tell you how bad it is. He says, they go by a planet and gobble it up. Everything on that planet is digestible. They spit it out. It's the size of a grapefruit. Still weighs the same. Still weighs the same. Still swirls at the same speed. Right? And you can hear the North and South Pole clicking. All right. All over space you hear this click of time. Bump, bump. And you can record it. I call them way stations. That's what they steer from. Interplanetary steerage. Now, don't think nobody's out there. Don't think nobody's out there. They haven't proven it yet. They've got remnants, pieces, bits, so on and so forth. So you're on the right track. You're on the right track, but they don't want to scare the dickens out of you. It's about time they started scaring all it. I can tell you, I won't take the time, but I can tell you a story about a guy showed up when we were, a computer filled the room. Your little one on the desk right now would do the same work. We had an RCA reel-to-reel computer in a room with about 100 feet long, about 40 feet wide, and it was reel-to-reel. It would remember what you put into it. Guy showed up down there, and I said there was something funny. He had a little 9-inch box. You remember there was some tin vendors out that made 9-inch boxes. I forget the name of them. Anyways, he had a bunch of plugs in it. He come down, plugged it into the computer. We've been looking for black holes. Found one in what was it, 20 years, I think. 12 or 20 years, I forget it exactly. He plugged in. We found 30 more in less than 20 days. 30 more in 20 days. And I said to him, hey, give me that box. I'm going to take it apart. There's nothing in there. Because it didn't have any heft to it. Never saw him again. He disappeared overnight. Get in here more often, and you have a marvelous thing. You're 20 over 9, so, and they say the band goes dead when it goes dark. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Somebody on the other end's going to sleep at some time. So that's what happens. I remember years, these dams are quiet now, what they used to be. I remember Saturday night years ago, you'd have to drive a wedge in the frequency to move the guy that was on the frequency to make a slot to get into. Now it's a dead dam. Why? All computerized. All computerized. The speed's picked up. Communications are picked up. Not truthful communications, crap communications. So they're spending their time goosing butterflies with a sharp pencil, right? And no progress is being made. No progress is being made. You're not and if it is, it's secretive. So they're not releasing what's being made. Every once in a while, somebody will break his nose, figure he's going to die from it, and he'll spill the beans, and somebody will write it down. So join us more often. You'll be surprised what's actually going on. But they're wasting time. And let me tell you, if you're lucky, you'll live 100 years. For man, that's no time. 50 of those years is smartening up. 50 of the years is smartening up. You're 60 years old now. 10 years of progress out of 50 years of stupidity. So it's all backwards. Kids should be going to school just as quick as they can talk, over. Well, I can tell you one thing is for definite. The older you get, the dumber you get, over. The older you get, the dumber you get. You forget. You can't remember where you put your glasses down. In fact, I'm looking for mine now. Yeah, I've forgotten more. Yeah, I've forgotten more than I know. Very good. You need more aperture, more times of resonance. Aperture is covered by, it's like putting boots on. It's like putting boots on. Put on one layer in the winter, you got cold feet. Put another sock on, fine. That's aperture. Same old. All you do is keep piling it on. Every time you crush the pattern, you gain 3 dB, half an inch unit. You also gain double the power. Every time you widen it up, you lose 3 dB. You make it twice as wide in any perspective, whether it's vertical, side sliced, or horizontal. So don't throw away 3 dB. Just a little space between the numbers is half your power if you lose it, or better than double your power if you gain it. So very important. Very important. And don't amplify voltage. Voltage isn't the part that works. Amplify current. That's the greatest invention there ever was. The transistor. It amplifies current. Could care less about voltage. All right, maybe I faded out. VA4TQ his call was. Go ahead there, K9EGH W1VDE. Go ahead. You still got the podium.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just trying to get a grip on this. This is a whole new concept for me, and I'm very thankful that I ran into you tonight on the band. So just trying to get my head around it and thinking about the next step. What you're talking about with the current makes total sense, and the magnetic field. That's that. This traveling wave concept and everything is just very, very exciting to me. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Back to you.
Yeah, well, it's horrible, but it's true. It's horrible, but it's true. And you once you get into it, it's hard to let go of it. But if you're going to see it. You're going to have hands on, and you're going to see it. You might as well know what you're looking at. You might as well know that what they've taught you is basic. They've taught you no more. They've expounded basically and taught you no more. Taught you to avoid or scan through parts that you what you want to look at is when you look at an article, is when you read it, is what did he didn't put down? What did he not say when he was trying to explain something? What's he avoiding telling you? Don't read the printed word. Read what's between the lines, and don't accept you don't need to know. Why is that puts them backwards?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if you don't know why and they don't expand on it, then obviously there's something being held back for some reason. Probably not in the interest of pushing forward and kind of pulling the curtain back and taking a look at what's going on behind the scene. So, okay. Yeah, I'm learning a lot here tonight and very excited about it. So I did pull up the hfqso.com site, and I will dive into that one as well. I've got you on the recording this evening, so I've got all the frequencies and everything that you've talked about, and I'll be able to replay this and listen to it over and over again, which I definitely will. So, yeah, that's about all I got, Roger. I feel like a first day freshman talking to a college professor and don't really know the right questions to ask. Back to you.
Let me give you a hint. As brilliant you are, and you're smarter than average, and the average is pretty smart. Let me give you a hint. Don't try to hold it in your head. Get a notebook, a little one. Put down one word, so you can remember that one word will turn on the key to what you were thinking. Don't try to hold it all in your head. It's impossible. It's impossible. Just you need keywords and know what they're fired and what they're take those. Remember the keywords that you want the answer of why, and work on those, and it'll all glue together for you, and it'll start to mean more. But don't try to carry that word in your head. You will forget it. The note paper, and do it in ink. Do it in ink. Never mind the pencil. Pencil will blur. It's only good for 10 minutes. The perspiration will do it. Steam off your body. You want it in ink, and you want to know why, or question marks. You want everything's questionable. They can't answer the question, you don't want to talk to them, alright?
Yes, QSL. Well, I can't tell you what I do because I work for the Department of Defense, but I can tell you this. I'm computer science is what my degree is in, and what I do at work is I have 3 notebooks right now, and I write down the things that I stumble over, and I keep those in my notes. And I've about wore those notebooks out going back and forth because one of my professors once said, it's not about knowing everything. It's about how to find the answers. And once you find those answers, his suggestion was to use notebooks so you can go back. That way, you're not trying to remember everything because you're going to lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. But those are things that you're going to have to reference later on throughout your career. So, yeah, I'm already practicing that, and that's how I deal with everyday stuff. My notes are the things that I stumbled over and got a grasp on, so I don't let go of them by moving on to other things, and then 5 years later not remembering what I learned. Back to you.
Oh, here I work for the Department of Defense, Army Security Agency during the Korean War, so I'm an old hand at it, but I've got to tell you this one there because you're going to get a kick out of it. I worked with Russia not too long ago, and he says, I'm on a nice island. I said, yeah, his name's Andre, and he's a hell of a good operator. We're CW operator. We're on CW. I said, not only do I know who you are, I said, I know where you are, on what ice island you're on, and I even know why you're there. But we won't discuss it in phone. So get on CW, go up above 45 words a minute. I said, there's only me and a few other guys can copy that speed. He said, they'll attempt to it. I said, but go into ham slang. Say in ham slang, I said, not a buffalo, and we can talk. And I said, I know what ice island on, why you're there. He said, how come you know so much? I said, I was on the other one, the U.S. owns, over.
Okay, yeah, QSL. All right. Well, that's something I've not ventured into the CW. I did try to study that when I was, 10 or 12 years old. But you know how it is at that age. A lot of other things interrupt your thought process and everything. But yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I've made a voice contact with Russia about 2 weeks ago, and very nice gentleman, Igor, I think Slokolov may have been his name. I can't remember his call sign now, but we had a nice short QSO, but his English was very good. So I was kind of curious about that because I can't speak Russian at all. Back to you.
You're not taught to. You're not taught to, but the day will come. So I speak very little Chinese, but they sent me to Korea. So, but everything's a learning lesson. Everything is a study. But it was funny. And there's a lot of Russians speaking excellent English. And in the 50s, when Khrushchev was beaten on the podium, we were watching him on TV off the moon echoes. We used the moon as an echo check to watch the Russian TV at Arecibo. I said, what the hell is wrong with him? We had about 15 Russians working while I was working. He says he's a politician, that's what's wrong, in plain English. So there it was, a Russian speaking English telling an American he's a politician,
Okay, yeah, QSL. Well, I guess maybe I don't know. There's different perspectives, and sometimes maybe it's not what you want to hear, but I always give enough weight to somebody else's thoughts, and when they're honestly conversing with me about it, then I'll look into it, because my perspective may not be the correct one. But I don't know. How did you feel about that when he said that? Did you think he was correct? Over.
Oh, I know he was correct.
Okay.
Every time his shoe come down, he was saying, "We'll bury you, we'll bury you." He was threatening us. He was threatening the U.S. I said, "What's wrong with this guy?" And the guy answered me in English. He said, "He's a politician." And I didn't even know he was a Russian. That's how good his English was. But we had 5 or 6 working right in the room studying interplanetary progress. What does work when you see a flash. This is before all the interstellar stuff that's floating in space. We were the guys that pushed back and opened the unknown. And then that antenna's too small. They moved to Columbia. Up at 11,000 feet, because there is a resistance at the frequencies that we use, and made the portable units to line them up on the mountain down in, I believe it's Columbia. So, and they're at 11,000 feet. We were doing it just we were 32,000 feet of water, so we were, Earth-wise, we were 32,000 feet up, but not above the Earth. They're 11,000 feet above sea level. We were probably 4,500 to 5,000. So the higher up you go, the better the antennas work. So, it's not the general information. I can tell you why, but I'm not going to. But you know this. There's certain things you can say, and certain things you should say. But then again, you have to bite your tongue. I know what you're up against. I know exactly what you're up against. I've been there a long time ago in a world far away. Over.
Yeah. Okay, Roger. Yeah, you definitely understand where I sit, and I understand what you're saying. So we're connecting on that 100%. I want to kind of slide over maybe a little bit to your experience. Listening to the radio waves coming from space, and the luminaries that you've been able to have conversations with. I'm kind of curious. Where I sit, I would say beyond a doubt that there's a lot of life out there in the universe, an awful lot of it. But I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on that, because of the experiences that you've had. And obviously, I think you have a higher level of understanding a lot of things than other people. And I'm very interested in your thoughts, if you don't mind sharing those. Back to you.
I don't mind sharing them. I got personal experience. Here's the answers to it. Why can't they read, if you go south of Mexico, don't get to Panama, all through the jungle down there, there's cities built. The stonework is phenomenal.
Yes.
There's stuff that, you don't cut a rock and put the chisel in the wrong place and make a mistake, or off comes somebody else's head or your own. And you got to start over again. They got buildings down here, they can't read what's on them in the jungle. They haven't cleared the jungle away apart to explosives. But here's one that'll take your breath away. I actually saw this in the mountains in the Andes in Peru. In Peru, you can go through. There's a guy riding a motorcycle, an Indian riding a motorcycle, no wheels. No wheels. Got rockets on it. It's got rockets on it. And it hasn't been defaced. Original cut. Original cut in the tombs in Peru, over.
Okay. All right. Now we're getting down to the gritty here, because I know the way they cut the stones that you're speaking of, that you can't slide a sheet of paper in between the stones, and they're not perfect squares. They're interlocking like a jigsaw puzzle. And Machu Picchu is one location that has this type of construction. So I kind of thinking along the same lines. And then I'm trying to think of the desert, where there are basically giant pictographs, and some of them look like landing strips. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Back to you.
And the further out in space you go, the more detail you can see. Yep, you got it. Those are laser cuts. They had a way. I don't know what it is yet, but I said exactly the same thing. You can't put a razor blade or a sheet of paper between them. The only way you can do that is either hone them with a and you've seen Machu Picchu. You've seen the size of those things. Nobody was shaking those things around. So those are laser cut, over. They're cut with light.
Yeah, QSL. That's the only reasonable answer. And a lot of the pictographs that show chariots in the sky and flames coming out of what appears to be some type of a vehicle and a pilot. All these things, ancient aliens. Now, that's a TV series, but they're talking about real things. It's not made up, and they're asking the questions. And I'll tell you what, it's just everything points to that. And I think you're right. I think they're afraid that the general public would not be able to handle that type of information. Whether it's either a collapse of society and religion as we know it, or if that's a control issue with the government maintaining these secrets.
You got it. We understand each other completely. You've seen it. You've got it figured out. Don't let go of it. Move it on to the next generation. Move it along to the next generation. Let them find out. I'm over the hill. You're not, but you're going over it. We need younger brains. We're not gonna set the country back 40 years and then bring it. We'll go back in the laser business. We'll go back in the. You ain't going back in nothing. You gave away what you shouldn't have because you didn't want to do this. You didn't want to do that. All you want to see is profit numbers. A number juggler. You could have done the same thing with a set of duck pins if you'd have took the time to learn how to handle them. And so much of that going on. It's a damn mess, to be perfectly honest. And it's no longer in my hands. I'm not wiping my hands of it, but you're not learning anything somebody else didn't know before us. They left that for us to figure out. They left that for a reason, to see how long are these nitwits going to be before they figure out what's going on. So we still don't have it figured out. We still do not have it figured out. We can't even read the messages that they left. And they left them because that stuff on the isthmus, the Panama Isthmus, that goes from essentially southern New Mexico and all those little cluster of countries down through there. And they were there because it was temperate. You didn't have to worry about cold and hot. So they had the center of the earth. They knew what they were doing. They absolutely knew what they were doing. They were balancing the polarity of the earth, so on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they knew about temperature and had figured it out. They left messages, and nobody can read it. And it ain't from around here. Nobody can read it.
Okay, yeah, copy that. So in order to decipher these things, what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence? Is that something that we could put artificial intelligence, put that task in front of, and perhaps come up with some answers? I know they've used AI for other things and gave it the parameters, and some of the answers that came back were unexpected, but it seemed to be very logical. So maybe that would be an option. But the thing that I'm concerned about with the artificial intelligence is that other countries that did not heed the warnings and progress slowly have already been doing this. And let's just call it a chessboard between us and some other countries. And they're looking ahead on that chessboard farther than we are. So I think that's one of the things that alarms me the most in the immediate future. And then, decoding some of these things from the past should really be something else that's looked at. Back to you.
Artificial intelligence is machine thinking. It can only tell you what you already know. What it does is it's averaging everything out. Keep your thumb off the scale. Is what I'm saying. It can be warped either way. It can be warped either way. What are the odds? What are the odds that it's being warped? Who's doing it? And who's doing it? So it's like everything else, mechanical. You want new thumbnails? Yeah, well, I got a ball peen hammer. You'll get them. It just takes time. Anything worth doing takes time. You can't bring speed into it. And if it isn't worth doing, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. It's that simple. It's actually quite simple. If you need averaging, it'll do it for you. But it'll only do the information that you give it. It can't think. It can't think. It takes a human brain to get the idea to weigh or evaluate, is this machine telling the truth? And you're already concerned about it. You've answered your own question. Machine thinking is machine thinking. Evaluating, machine thinking. Advanced thinking. Thinking into the unknown. That's human, all right?
Okay, that's a good perspective on that. And I guess I did answer my own question. Maybe I just needed to hear that from somebody else. I bounce a lot of things off of other people to get their reactions and kind of give myself a reality check sometimes, I guess. When it's something that's it's not actually a known quantity, then I think that's a good way to do that. You get some a different insight. But that kind of answers my question for me, Roger. Thank you.
Oh, this is another way of thinking. They're destroying ham radio. They've got computers talking to computers.
Yes.
And they can converse. They can converse and they can pass information. The problem is they take up time. Time, you've only got 100 years of it if you're real good. In that 100 years, you got 50 of it's blown away, and at 60 you're ready to retire. So you got 10 years of possibility. Productivity. That's the word I'm looking for. You got 10 lousy years of productivity. Maybe 20 if you're a little off the step or interest. But here's what they're doing. They're killing ham radio. You don't hear people on discussing, what do you think? Without discussion, without one brain argue against another brain, you're not causing a space between them. You want a notch in between. You want a notch in between. That way you can both hide in there and come out with an answer. We're not getting answers. We're getting runarounds, over.
Yes. Okay. So basically, we're just getting signal reports, and in a very short exchange. Now, I don't do FT8. That to me is a lot like texting on a telephone. I like the the art of communication, and I'm kind of a traditional guy. Whenever I fish, I fish with a fly rod. The guns that I shoot are muzzle loaders, and when I was shooting a bow, I was shooting the long bow. So anything traditional is kind of where my happy place is. So the FT8 and the digital stuff, I'm just not into it. It's impersonal, and it's two computers talking back and forth. I enjoy and thrive on rag chews. Like what we've had tonight has been one of the best conversations I've had on ham radio, period. Back to you.
You W1VDE for ID, and K9EGH is on the other end, Dave. Well, very good. I hope I'm reading the call right, or attempted to read the call right. That you'll get on it, and you are correct. You're completely correct. And longer, you just don't hear it anymore. So what does that mean? It means we're going to hell in a handbasket. Somebody's got not one finger up one nostril. They got two fingers, one up each nostril. We're being steered, told how to think, told when to go to school, told what to read, so on and so. What are we missing? We're not, you and I aren't interested in it anymore. What I want is a list of books I'm not supposed to read. I'll make the decision. If you've got time to read the book in the first place, to recommend that I do not read it, that's the one I want. I want to see why. Why don't you want me to read it, over?
Yes, as QSL. Okay. Yes, you did get the call sign correct. It is Kilo Echo 9 Echo Golf Hotel for ID with Whiskey 1 Victor Delta Echo. I agree with you, Roger, 100%. So I guess, how does this get fixed? We need to talk more and really have a good communication, a good conversation versus exchanging signal reports and, doing the computer to computer thing. And I don't know. I see a lot of it happening, and I was actually monitoring 11 meters tonight, and there were a lot of people on there, more so that are on my 2 meter nets, and the conversations were long. Actually, people were behaving for a change, so that was a nice thing. But the I don't know. The simplicity of it was attractive to me at one point, but being able to talk to you across the country, we're over an hour now, and almost we're at an hour and 44 minutes. That doesn't happen anywhere else, but in a nice clear band on a night tonight. Back to you.
Well, nobody uses these frequencies anymore, and normally they be on here DX, and where we're landing, they're sleeping right now. So let me see. 7 o'clock Sunday morning, which will be shortly here. 7 o'clock Sunday morning in Cape Town, South Africa, as we're talking. Going on, what's it, 5, 6, 7? Yeah, 7 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in England. So, and it's the middle of the winter. There's no ionization yet. 5 o'clock in the morning. They're as cold as it is. Your butt is in February right now, and it's our August. So, but it's their February. It's their February, and just their February spelled AUG, UST. So they're not up yet. If they were, right around noontime, we should have a path in there for them, for their noontime. Their noontime, not ours. Not ours. So the differential, in other words, daylight's coming at us tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and 3 more hours here before we're into tomorrow. No, 2 more hours, I guess. Government time. I go strictly by what it actually is. This juggle in the clock is phenomenally misleading. And what are we doing following Wilhelm? What the hell was his name? Chancellor Wilhelm in Germany, World War I. We don't need it. I can read what time it is right here. Japan got the best system. They never change it. So, hey, we're going to talk some more. You get on that. You look at that highfrequencyqso.com. I'm on there more than I should be, and it's been most enjoyable, Dave. I could talk all night, but then again, it's my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Together, we're dangerous, Solder.
Okay, yeah, I agree. We could be dangerous if we were to team up. But I'll tell you, I respect the folks who have been there and done that before me, and have had these experiences, and have an opinion that they're willing to share in an intelligent way, which you've done all evening, and I do appreciate that. So, I always give weight, to individuals such as yourself. So I just want to pass that along and let you know that it was time well spent for me. Definitely, Roger. I appreciate it. And yes, certainly do look forward to our next conversation. Probably ought to wrap it up. It's 1:04 a.m. here right now. But man alive, this is kind of a turning point. So my way of thinking and looking at things has taken a turn for the better, and I'll be questioning a lot more consciously instead of in a reactionary way. That way, maybe I'll get the information I need a little quicker and be able to build on that with the next gain in information. So I want to turn it back to you and say thank you very much for the conversation tonight from Kilo Echo 9 Echo Golf Hotel.
All right, well, very good, Dave. I got to tell you, Reed, I keep trying to think of his name. He was a poet, and he lived on Walden's Pond, up in Massachusetts. I know it's in Concord. See, I know where Walden's Pond is because I used to trap all through those areas years and years ago. And he wrote a book. He wrote a book. He's a very famous poet, and I can't remember his name. But read one of his poems called "The Road Less Traveled." I traveled on the woods, and it split. It split, and I took the road less traveled. That's the one you want to read. It's one you want to read. It's very, very interesting. It'll come to me. And I'll tell you, sometimes the brain, when you go to sleep, the brain keeps working. The body stops working. But the brain, the part that little thought in between us, they don't want us both in there, right? That's that dangerous point. That keeps working. Once so you got a problem, think about it. You go to sleep, you'll wake up with the answer. You'll wake up with the answer. You'll be surprised how accurate that answer is. You will be completely, and you'll be even more amazed from whence it came. So you've got to read the road less traveled. You'll find it. He's very, very famous. I can't think of his name right now, but it's a true poem. It is a true, and it's prose. It isn't a poem. It's prose, which is the same as a poem, has the same meaning, but it's called The Road Less Traveled.
Okay, Roger. I believe his name was it Henry David Thoreau? Is that close? And I think it was the novel is On Walden Pond. I've read parts of that poem, and it made a lot of sense to me, and that's how I live my life. A real quick story. When I was very young, I was at a carnival type festival with my mother, and I was a little guy. I remember reaching up high to hold her hand as we walked along the edge of the parade, and a man in a Salvation Army outfit came up to talk to us, and the one thing that he said to me that I remember, and that's how I've lived my life, is he said to play while you're young because you have the rest of your life to work. So I took a lot of time out when I was younger, and I traveled and did things, and now I'm in the working part of it, and that's okay, because that was what I agreed with in his philosophy of it, and that's kind of what I follow. As to when you go to sleep, that has happened to me several times, and I've made that that connection. Here recently, I've been able to sort through some problems, issues that I had to deal with, and I had the solution first thought when I woke up the next day. So I think it partially is you got to get all these distractions that go on around you while you're awake to stop, and then your brain continues to work the problem. But David Henry Thoreau, I think maybe is his name.
That is correct. And he was from Massachusetts, so he lived at Walden's Pond, but it's prose. It's not rhyming poetry. Right. It's prose, and read between the lines. He He was leaving a message. He was leaving a message for us to evaluate. And when you make sure there's a pencil and piece of paper there, you only need one word on that paper. If you wake up in the night in a nightmare, mark down what woke you up. What woke you up. It don't mean anything till you read it the next morning. And you'll sleep better. You will sleep better. You'll be surprised what that gray matter does.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll tell you what, my reading list expanded by 2 books tonight. I'm going to order Carl Sagan's Cosmos and read his writing. You always get better understanding out of the book than you do the movie. And I'm going to order On Walden Pond. I've actually seen documentaries of the little house that he lived in and how small and bare it was. So he was there to focus and, like you say, exactly correct, send a message to future generations. And so I'm going to read that message by your suggestion. Thank you, Roger.
It's no thing. It's just curiosity. It's all written down. We're not the first to be concerned about it. We are not. We're just simply observers, and that's what it was put there for. But you read that, and see what you get out of it, and then later I'll ask you what you think what he was trying to tell. What do you think that he was trying to tell? And somewhere along the line, you'll get the idea. He actually is leaving a message for the future, Robert.
Yes, copy that. I do agree. And I realize that I have a great ability to ignore things. Sometimes things that should be ignored, and oftentimes things that shouldn't be. So it's kind of like you just reminded me that that's something that I really had intended in the past to read thoroughly and completely, and I just haven't done it yet. So I'm 60 years old. And by the time I turn 61, I can promise you I will have read that book as well.
Okay, just the point. It's him with a bunch of them. He was a tremendous writer. And it's just education. I tell you, there's a message there. And I'm going to, later on, I'll give you a few months to think about it and so on. And one of these days in the conversation, I'll say, okay, what did Thoreau tell you? And we'll see how far into your brain he got.
Okay, that's the deal. I accept those conditions, and I will certainly do that. It'll be a very interesting conversation, I'm sure. Back to you.
Well, it's a challenge, is what it is a challenge. And there's no answer. There's no real answer, but there sure is challenge. Just remember, everything you do that's progressive takes that time. It takes time. If it don't take any time, save yourself what little you have. It ain't worth doing. It is not worth the venture. Just remember, anything worth a venture takes time, and a lot of it.
Okay, that sounds like good advice. Definitely appreciate you sharing that thought, and I'll hold on to that and try to put that in practice. Sounds like We should have had this conversation years ago. I probably would have been a little further along than I am now, but I'm kind of motivated. So that's exciting, especially when you get caught in a rut, and I want to do more than just work to pay bills. I want to be able to grow in certain areas, and radio is certainly one of them. But uh, overall consciousness of what's going on around me, certainly. So we've covered some topics tonight. So this is going to be a conversation I'm probably not going to forget. So I'll turn it back to you, and thank you very much for your time and everything. And we can go ahead and get off of here, and I will look you up and get a hold of you later on for sure.
You'll hear me on the different nets, Dave. And I run a net where we salvage what's left of a sinking boat or a wet sailor. It's on 21412. It's a kind of an inactive net, but it's there every day. It's there every day. We watch out for the boats that are traveling around the world. They used to do it years ago, and it was done by radio. So we still keep it alive. It's been 83 years I've been on there. 83 years I've been on. So the Pacific Maritime Mobile Service Net is the name of it. It's on 21412. It's the old Pan American Airlines. Pan American Airlines before World War II. Those were commercial frequencies. 21 megacycles was the battleship frequency to answer 18 megacycle dispatch out of Washington, D.C. The Navy dumped it when the engineers made that the IF frequency for every TV set in the U.S. And they dumped it on the amateurs. They were going to filter it out. Impossible. We used to double and triple and quadruple to go up in frequency because we were coming from the spark period. Now they do the same thing, but they quadruple down from 60 megacycles fixed frequency. Receivers work backwards. Some of them even tune backwards. Different strokes for different folks. There you go. Been my pleasure. Think, and just when you think you know it all, think some more. Why? Because somebody's been there before us. There's the answer. Why? Because somebody's been before us. And what did he leave, and where did he leave it? Now you got something to think about. 73s. My very best to you, by golly. You're doing all right. No matter what they say. And please remember why. Sometimes it'll cause a step backwards. How darest you ask me that? Hey, no answer means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. KF9 EGH W1VDE. Ciao. Catch you later.
Okay, Roger. Thank you very much, and certainly my pleasure. And had a great conversation, and oh man, just awesome experience. I thank you for that. So from Kilo Echo 9 Echo Golf Hotel, Whiskey 1 Victor Delta Echo Roger. Look forward to our next communication, and really enjoyed it. Best wishes, and I hope I talk to you again soon. KE9 EGH is clear.
I'll probably be here tomorrow night, so don't panic. Don't panic. Weigh things up, put them on the scale. Keep your thumb off the scale, and you'll get onto it. You why for an answer. You don't answer a why. Not till I get my why first, and then I'll answer. So there you go. 73s, and have a good night. You think your brain was working? It's only started to go to work. Over.
Oh yeah, copy that, Roger. And that's a good thing because I was needing to step things up. We'll put it that way, and this is definitely in the right direction. So a lot of food for thought, my friend, and I do appreciate it. You have a great night, and we'll talk soon from KE9EGH 73s.
73s, 20 after 9 here, I think. 20 after 10, 23 minutes after 10. W1V Victor, D Delta, E Echo. Enjoy. Life ain't as long as you think it is. Tis not as long as you think it is. And I'm watching 100 now. I didn't think I'd live this long. I did not think I'd live this long, but here I is. Onward and upward. Onward and upward is every day is a complete challenge. Every day is a challenge. If it isn't, you're missing the best part of your life. So you get onto it. And you read Thoreau, and you're going and read it, and evaluate the words he didn't put down. What's you read a stanza or thereabouts. Okay, what did he try to say? Same thing when you read a book. Okay, he said this. But what didn't he say there? Why? Over.
Yeah, QSL. Okay. I will certainly do that. I understand what you're saying. I'll read a bit. I'll read through a small part, and then think about what I've read, and then ask those questions, and I may end up getting more out of it that way. And that's kind of the problem that I have, to be honest, is I try to get on things really quickly, on tasking, and sometimes that ends up taking longer, because the things that perhaps I'm overlooking, I need to evaluate a little bit more accurately. So like the last antenna I built, it took a long time, but when I was done, it worked really well. And so, yeah, I follow what you're saying.
I always try to, I'll be perfectly honest, I read a whole paragraph. And then in 5 words or less, what did he just tell me? In 5 words or less, what did he just say? It took a paragraph to get across, Over.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I try to break things down towards more concise, and then it sticks with I think it sticks with you better, and you do better that way. At least when I was learning the higher mathematics, that helped a lot, so I'm sure that applies there as too. Over.
Absolutely. Remember, it's Greek shorthand. It's Greek shorthand. So, and if you run into problems antenna-wise, why, pop them on me. If you're not making mistakes, you're not making progress. If you don't make any mistakes, you're not making progress. Nobody's perfect. And that's not me talking, that's going thousands of years. Everybody makes mistakes. The thing is to avoid the big ones. So what do? You mark them down. Then you figure out how to get around them. Don't try to carry it all in your head. Carry a notebook. Your own personal book. It's for you only, over.
Yeah, QSL. Well, yeah, that's what I do with work, and I usually have a notebook here with me where I can jot things down on the radio. But I think just in general studies, basically, it's a great way to go. My notes have refreshed my memory on things that I stumbled over in the past, and kind of help eliminate. Like you say, avoiding the big mistakes and then avoiding repeating those mistakes. Over.
Right, you'll have knowledge. You won't repeat them. Hey, you will have weighed the mistake to the point of you ignore it. Oh, I made that one a long time ago. But you can't carry it in your head. You have to keep reminding yourself because the brain is a marvelous machine, self-clearing at its convenience. When it needs knowledge, it also at its convenience can dig it out. Often you'll miss a name or something, but someone will remember what you're talking about. So, and the older you get, the worse it gets. You'll get there. Keep that thing well oiled. Keep it well oiled and use it. The thing loves use, so.
Okay, that's good advice. Oh boy, I'll tell you, this has been a great conversation, Roger. So much to think about and contemplate. So it's been a really good experience on this end, and certainly appreciate it. Yeah, I'll write down those frequencies, and I'll try to get on that net that you were talking about. I've got it on the recording, so I can always go back and get it. But and that'll be a hoot for sure. And then on the website, of course, that'll be another fun way to get out there and ask some questions and learn some new stuff. So definitely appreciate it, and hope you have a good evening.
Well, you're having a good morning before I've got morning. 73. W1VDE, Oregon. Going to be looking for you. And please, if you don't have to agree with me. I love a challenge. So I got nothing to do but another challenge. So it's intriguing. It's intriguing. I kind of look forward to it. You get onto it. You're gonna make some giant steps. You watch the difference between resonance and travel and wave. You're in for the surprise of your life. You're going to use a lot of resonating systems. You're going to use a lot of them. You're going to use even more non-resonant. They have two non-resonant feed lines, and I can tell you what they are. They're shaped the tapered feed line, non-resonant. You put one impedance in one and match to anything. You can actually match anything to anything. And if it don't, you want to go down, you feed high voltage into it. It'll take you down to high amperage. You run it backwards. You put voltage into it, and you end up with amperage coming out the closest end. So works two ways. Wires and transformers work two ways. You can step up, you can step down, but that's playing with resonance. Or you can step across a multitude of frequencies. Watch. The light's going to come on in a dark room, Everett.
Yeah, QSL. Yeah. Well, it's exciting getting ready to throw the switch on that. I have there's a local ham here. It's kind of an Elmer, and he's working with me on electronic theory. Some questions that I had where I was asking why, and I wanted to understand the principles of why, and that way why can be an answer you don't understand, but you've been told, so they'll move on. But at that point you don't grow from it, you can't build on it. So yeah, he's working with me on that, and I need to get back with him. But yes, sir, you have a great insight, and it's just kind of amazing how you've understood where I'm at and what it is I'm trying to do. So that's kind of a nice serendipity, I guess. I've always believed in serendipity. When you're doing one thing and something happens that answers some questions that you weren't expecting or weren't looking for at that moment. So that kind of sums up our conversation tonight.
I didn't appear. Some function greater than what neither one of us know about must have brought us together, because couple of hours we've been chatting here. It's not normal. I'll be the first to admit it, but I walked down that road before you did. That's all. All you're going to do is you're repeating what I've already done. And I'm trying to tell you, read the road less traveled. What it's going to do is teach you to think for yourself, is what he's doing. Think for yourself. Don't take everybody else's word. Find somebody that you agree with, that's been there before you. If someone writes a great song, it was great for him. Today it may be horrible. But why did he do it? He didn't just haul off and write a song. He had a reason. And that reason will take you deeper. Everything leads elsewhere. And in order to understand it, you've got to be elsewhere when he did it to understand why he did it. And better still, do you both understand what you've uncovered, Albert?
100% agree, Roger. That's correct. And yeah, that's the serendipity in action, basically. That's how I see it. And a lot of things that I've experienced in my life, the answers that I got were unexpected in a time that I wasn't looking for them, but they were still there. So there's a lot to that. And nothing really happens by chance, I don't think. But there's times when maybe you're just more receptive to seeing the things and maybe a path to take to understand other things that you're searching for. So that's about all I can say about it. But I certainly appreciate all the advice and the direction. And like you said, and I've known for a long time that whatever it is that I end up doing or achieving, I'm standing on the shoulders of somebody who's been there before me. So, you can't, it's not an ego thing. It's a progression. Back to you.
Yeah, you got it. 73s, and you got it pretty well figured out. I got to tell just one more thing before I go. I was standing in the line in Miami, Florida, waiting to get some salami in a meat market, a little Italian grocer down in South Miami. And the guy behind me was kind of in a hurry. And I said, well, just let me get my order in. I said, actually, I'm to the girl I'm talking to, I'm dating. And so I just want to tell her that I wouldn't get home in time. I said, by the way, I said, you look just like Joe DiMaggio. And he looked at me and I said, what, you know, he said, yeah. He said, you get the best salami here. And I said, yeah. I said, that's my girlfriend there you're talking to. So he said, I said, what's your name? He said, Joe DiMaggio. And it was him. It was Joe DiMaggio. So you talk about serendipity. That's happened about 5 different times. That's happened about 5 different times. I remember I was teaching class in the Army one time, and I looked up, and it was not Shrub, it was his dad, World War II. He was president. He was in the crowd. He wasn't president at that time, but he was head of the outfit that I belonged to, Army Security. Actually, Mint Hill Farms, Virginia, and been there, done that. And there I was teaching the guy before while he was head of the CIA. So if anybody knows about what can happen or what can happen in a lifetime, it's you. It's you. Why? You're following in my tracks, so.
Okay, wow, Joe DiMaggio, that's incredible, man. Yeah, it's you know, maybe we both took the road less traveled, and that could be the simple answer, but you got to think outside the box and kind of follow which way the wind takes you sometimes. So it's like the guy that I met in that parade when I was just a little feller, still wearing short pants, and it just rung. It's like a bell went off. So I knew that was the right path for me. But yeah, some great stories, Roger. Really, really seriously, it's been an incredible conversation. But all right, well, that's about all I got. I'll say 73s to you, and hopefully get to talk to you again very shortly.
See you later. I actually got to watch Babe Ruth point at Fenway. He was playing in Fenway Park years and years ago. I watched him point over the wall, and then he hauled off and drove the ball right out of Fenway Park, right after he told him where he was going to drive a home run. I actually stood there and watched him do it. So, been around a long time. Seen a little bit of everything. Enjoyed every second of it. So, and the only reason I'm here right now, see what's going to happen next. So, 73. I'm pulling the switch.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, man, I bet the crowd went crazy when he did that. I seen a newsreel of that, and it was incredible. So to actually be there and see it, that's something else. So, okay, my friend, thank you very much for the wonderful conversation, and hope we have quite a few more. And have a great evening. And I'm going to turn this thing off and go to bed. So 73s from Kilo Echo 9 Echo Golf Hotel, Whiskey 1 Victor Delta Echo. Roger, enjoyed it. 73s, my friend.
73 W1 Victor Delta Echo, Oregon. I'm pulling the big red switch.
I'm so glad I got this on video. I hope that if you guys have stayed in this long, that you can appreciate, even to a lesser degree, how I appreciate this conversation. Sometimes, you know, you get the answers, or at least a good idea how to find them. And maybe that's what it's all about. I don't know. It's just a lot of subjects covered, and somebody who's been around for 95 years, you got to listen to them. And when you do, you're going to find out a lot of things, and a lot of common thoughts that people have on this journey. So it was very, well, I just don't know how to describe it. It was a very important conversation. The best, it was not the farthest. It wasn't the hardest to make. But as far as a growing experience, we'll put it that way. That's how I look at it. So anyway, if you've been along this far, thank you very much. This is going to be the longest video that I think I've ever posted, and certainly longest QSO. And to me, the most interesting, just because of the back and forth and everything. You were there, you heard it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and you can like and subscribe if you like to. The likes really help. It helps get the channel out with the metrics of YouTube and the way that works. Sure appreciate it. So yeah, have a good night, and hopefully I can get Roger on the air again another night. We'll have another nice long conversation, and go on above and beyond what we covered tonight. 73s from KE9 EGH.